Anyone can have a good idea, but the difference between those who have an idea and those who have a successful company is in the execution. These women figured out how they could transform a concept into a thriving company in New York City. And it all started with her big idea. Limor Fried was supposed to be working on her thesis at MIT when she started making her own do-it-yourself electronics kits and selling them. The popular demand for her kits has created her multi-million-dollar empire, Adafruit Industries.
My name is Limor Fried, and I am the founder and lead engineer of Adafruit Industries. Adafruit Industries is a company I started about 10 years ago, and I manufacture electronics here in Manhattan. They're designed to help people learn about how awesome it is to become an engineer and be creative with electronics. Our stuff is all over the world, used by professionals, students, kids, hobbyists, it's kind of everybody. Now we have almost $50 million in revenue. We ship over 1,000 packages a day. We have over 100 employees, and we're growing year after year, so it's really working out. This is the squeegee stenciler machine. Each one goes in one at a time. You can squeegee it in this stage, and it's tacky. Now that this is done, we check it over really fast. So Michelle, is this good? Good. And we don't usually see anything, but once in a while, the pick and place puts the parts down, but it doesn't see what it's doing. It's very rote. So if it makes a mistake, this is like the last chance before barter town. Like after this, it goes into the oven, it's done. Machine made but human approved. And now we have the assembled boards. I grew up in Boston. I went to MIT, I really loved electronics engineering, and I learned a lot of math, but I had a lot more fun building stuff. I was supposed to be working on my thesis, and I didn't want to. And instead, I spent my time building these fun projects like little synthesizers or making your own MP3 player. At the time, this was before you could just buy an MP3 player, so people built their own. And I had so much fun with that, I would post the projects online. I had like a blog, and I'd share, here's how you can make your own MP3 player, your own synthesizer, your own light toy. And people really liked it, and they responded very well to all these blog posts that I did and these projects that I posted. And they would email me and say, hey, this is so cool. I want to build this project myself. I want to learn how to build my own MP3 player. Can you sell me a kit of parts? And I was like, I can't do that. I've got to work on this thesis I'm avoiding. But I was like, well, you know, maybe that's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll make 100 kits, start out with that, buy a couple parts, and I use my credit card to buy those kit parts, put them together on the kitchen table, and sent them out to 100 customers. Then slowly but surely, every 6 months, I'd come out with a new design people liked. I just thought, this is something that has to exist in the world. I first started in a warehouse in Queens with 9 other people. We were in this 1,000 square foot apartment and slowly building the business. And then after a few years, I moved to a 2,000 square foot studio. And then eventually that got totally maxed out, and it was just boxes everywhere, and we couldn't have the business running out of a studio anymore. And that's when we moved to 150 Varick, which is where we are now. The name Adafruit comes from Lady Ada. She was an early engineer, computer scientist, and in some sense, she's the godmother of programming. We wanted to kind of integrate that name with what we're doing because I think that we're also in a new age of learning how to program the things around us. We have everything from kits designed for 6-year-old girls to 90-year-old grandmothers, everything in between, from people who are hardcore engineers to people who are just starting out. A kit contains a couple parts. First up, it has integrated circuits, little chips, sort of stuff that runs your cell phone or your GPS. It has resistors and capacitors. These are the building blocks of electronics. And it also has a custom circuit board, and that's what I designed. And that's the part where you plug all the components into it and you solder them together. And then when you're done, you turn it on and it works. We did our first batch of about 200 circuit playgrounds. We have a learning system where we post projects every single week, and we have 1,090 tutorials, and they're all free. Build robots, build LED tiaras. Some of our most popular projects are fashion projects. You take fashion that you already have and you customize it with LEDs, or skateboard hacking projects where you add underlighting LEDs that react when you move. A lot of people are integrating this technology into the hobbies and interests they already have. Press that flat so you get the most surface area. And then you actually don't even have to put the solder on the soldering iron. You just kind of get it around. At the time we were growing, we were getting daily phone calls from investment bankers. We want to invest, we want to invest. And I was like, well, is this the right decision? Is this something that's actually going to make the company have a better experience for customers? Is it good for everybody, or is it just a way to get a bunch of cash? And I decided not to. So we never took any VCs or loans because we decided that so far it hasn't benefited the company, even though maybe it would have allowed us to grow faster, it wouldn't have allowed us to grow better. The work culture here that we have at Adafruit is, well, kind of what I look like. People can dress however they want. They have all sorts of interests. What I try to do is say, hey, I'm an engineer. This is what I look like. And if I'm an engineer, you can also be an engineer. There's nothing about my hair color that impacts what I like to do and the quality of my engineering.
The issue was the chips. They were a bit out of place, but what I did was I used the heat gun. And I heated it just enough so I can just heat up the solder and shift it right back into place.
But you have to fix all the ones
that actually were broken. So I was like, well,
all right.
At least now in the future, you know.
Yeah, no, that's, well, look, there's always going to be more in the future than there were in the past.
Exactly.
All right, well, you got the hot air gun and you're rocking out.
Yep.
The advice I would give someone who wants to start a business is start small, sell 10, sell 20, get a feel for it. And it's okay if you don't have a blockbuster $1 million crowdfunding campaign. And it's always okay to change your mind. Or as my friend in college said, it's never too late to quit something that sucks. When Adafruit came in and said, hey, we're gonna change the way electronics and DIY tutorials and projects are done, I think we sort of changed how the market views it, and it's kind of for the better. Now any company that comes into this market, they have to meet our quality level or beat it. And so it's better for the customers as well. A lot of the decisions that we've made, people would say are really bad. We meet business leaders all the time who say things like, why are you manufacturing in Manhattan? That's like, this is ridiculous. You should outsource everything. Why are you paying the rent here? And when I respond to them like, well, we get the great people of New York. They're so creative, they're so much fun, they're so driven, right? Because you can't live in this city without being a little tough, right? There's no room here for like wishy-washiness. I think my biggest realization is that engineering and running a business are really two different skills. I'm learning a lot every day, both engineering, which is fun because I'm like, ooh, I'm designing with a new chip or a new circuit, or running a business. How can I get the best 401k plan for my team? And I kind of try to solve them in similar ways, but they are totally different skill sets. When you do what you love, it's not really work. And I actually really enjoy this. Like I get up and I'm like, I can't wait to solve that problem I had yesterday. I'm just doing my thing and the business speaks for itself.
Each of these New Yorkers began with a passion, had an idea, and launched their own thriving companies. Find out how other women recognize their entrepreneurial spirit next time on Her Big Idea.